best place for below average Star Wars.
Hello there, and welcome to the Star Wars Show, the best place for below average Star Wars. We're back with a brand new episode. It's myself, one of the Geordie Jedis, Peter, along with Canon Junkie XL, Iain. Iain, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. And yourself?
Yeah, I'm really good. I've been working hard in my non-Star Wars job, so it's not so much as fun as doing the podcast. So we haven't podcasted in a while, but I'm glad to be back to talk to you today.
Yeah, it's good to be back, mate.
Definitely, mate. I don't think I've recorded an episode since, I think the episode went out on the 1st of June, but that was recorded before then. So this is the first episode of June. Technically recorded in June, if that makes sense.
Does, mate.
But let's just dive straight in. I think straight away we've got to talk about that Star Wars Squadrons trailer.
Definitely, mate. Yeah.
So Star Wars Squadrons is the new game coming from EA. Iain, do you mind telling the listeners the story of sort of the code name and how we didn't know what it was and how it leaked on the Xbox website?
Originally, a listing on the PlayStation Store came out as Project Maverick, and that was leaked a while back. And obviously, then it came out that someone was developing a small scale Star Wars game. And then the other day, I can't remember what day it was, Xbox leaked the name of the game, the Star Wars Squadrons. And that's how it came about. And then obviously the cat was out of the bag, so he announced it, saying it was Star Wars Squadrons. And that's how the game has come out.
Yeah, I mean, for starters, I love the code name Project Maverick. It's really sort of tongue-in-cheek reference to Top Gun.
Yeah.
And then obviously this game is going to be very much sort of flying spaceships, not like starfighters in general, as it looks like. So I love that sort of tongue-in-cheek funness in the project title. How do you feel about the sort of the Xbox leak? Do you think it was planned or an accident?
I'm not sure. There's been a history of Star Wars games leaking on PlayStation and Xbox. I'm not overly sure. Maybe because it was due to be revealed that week anyway. I don't know whether Xbox just jumped the gun. I find it very hard to believe that they just happened to have the artwork and that, and I don't know how stuff like that works, to be honest.
Yeah, because what I think is that I don't know for sure whether it leaked accidentally or not, but I do know that when it did leak, obviously it got people talking online in a very positive way. Everybody was sort of a buzz. There was a flutter going through Twitter and Instagram, ooh, Project Maverick's coming and it's Star Wars Squadrons and it's about X-Wings and we're excited to play this game. And then obviously they announced, the trailer's going to come now. They announced when the trailer was coming. So they sort of had all this stuff ready to go.
Yeah.
Which to me, if it was accident, then it's a really, really good accident. And if it wasn't an accident, it's just genius marketing.
Yeah.
So, really, really positive marketing.
Yeah, but it definitely built up the hype, because there's a lot of people who used to love the old Rogue Squadron games. And,
yeah.
I don't think this will be what it is. I don't think it'll be like the old Rogue Squadron games. I know there's a single-player campaign, but I can't see it being a long campaign. I think it's more going to be more focused on multiplayer, which is fine by me. I enjoyed Starfighter Assault in Battlefront 2. It did die off a bit because they didn't really support it. But I'm excited to see what the game brings. And I checked this morning. It's only £31 in England, in UK. So
is it really?
Yeah, so if you've got EA access, I think it's 34 if you haven't. I've got EA access. I pay the £20 a year because it's easy enough. It's £31.49. I think it is on the Xbox Store.
That's great. When you think new games are £50 in the UK, they come off for £50. Yeah. That game's going to be under 40. That's a considerable saving.
But I don't. That's why I think it's a smaller scale game. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's a full. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, I mean, when we dive into the talking about the trailer, like I had a certain feel from the trailer. I'll go into to which maybe like harkens into why that might be cheaper. Sort of one of the things I got from the trailer was that like the music cues in the trailer, although it was very Star Wars, it was very like fun as opposed to sort of deep and emotional.
Yeah,
Like sort of the opposite to sort of what Jedi Fallen Order was.
yeah,
So it was more like an arcade style, like fun feel, which is good. Obviously, you can't have deep emotional games every game you play, otherwise you're going to be drained out.
yeah.
So I sort of got that feel. So if that's right, and this game's going to have like a very small sort of single player campaign, and then it'll be based on sort of arcade modes, multiplayer online.
Yeah.
That might justify the price, and like also like very good. If that is the price, that's great because if they're giving us games for less, because they could just charge £50 and people would still pay it. But if they are doing that, I think that's like really good on their end.
I'm just on the website now. Yeah, it's $34.99 if you haven't got EA access, or if you have got EA access, it's $31.49.
So that's really really well priced. You know what I mean? I don't mind getting a shorter game if you're charging us like 2/3 of the price.
It's £20 cheaper than like a normal game in the UK is £50, £49.99, maybe a bit more. So I think it would leave a bad taste in people's mouth if it was a small scale game and they charged like £60. Then you wouldn't be very happy.
Well, that's what happened with Battlefront 2 when it first came out because the campaign was so short.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've added loads of stuff for free, like going on, and it's like a really good game now. But I think like maybe EA have actually learned from that experience and what happened with the getting the loot boxes out the game and Bob Iger being involved directly. And
you'd think because like they bungled the launch of Battlefront 2, which now if you play Battlefront 2 now, like it's really good. Like it's a top game now, so hopefully lesson because I hate microtransactions. Like I don't mind if you want to pay money for like cosmetic stuff, then fair enough. But it wasn't that in Battlefront 2. It was paying to get better straight away, and I think it just leaves a bad taste in people's mouths because you've already paid £60 for a game.
No, definitely, it lends to the fact that like, do you know what I mean? Because like I got Battlefront when it came out, and I played the single player campaign, and I'm not really much of a multiplayer gamer to be honest.
Yeah.
Although I will admit, in the last few months, I have been playing Battlefront 2 online quite a bit.
Yeah.
And really enjoying it with all the new cosmetics in there that like you can unlock in the game that are sort of just earn points to buy. But one of the things that would really sort of get on my nerves would be, you know, if I'm getting this game when it comes out and I'm playing online and I'm playing against someone who's richer than me, so they can get better than me, even though I'm putting more time in and honing my skills properly, but they're getting better because they've got more money. Like it takes the fun out of sort of leveling up. Do you know what I mean?
It's like when you play FIFA and you launch it like in like a week later, someone's got Messi, Ronaldo, and Neymar up front. It's like okay, so you actually paid money to get this team together. And it's stuff like that.
Yeah, but I think so. Like, just sort of going back to sort of the trailer. I love how it started. The trailer starts off like a dogfight inside an asteroid belt or an asteroid field, and it's a TIE interceptor. Is that correct?
It is. Yeah, it's a TIE. TIE interceptor and a X-wing.
A T-65. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it will be. Yeah.
It's got the 4 engines, not the 2 split. So you start off with the TIE interceptor chasing a T-65 X-wing through asteroid field. It's quite tense. She's struggling to get away. One of her engines is on fire. She's obviously been hit. This TIE pilot's obviously very skilled. And she manages to sort of close her
S-files.
Close her S-files and goes through a gap in the asteroids, and the TIE gets caught. She comes out into an even bigger battle, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a case of, it wasn't just a dogfight, it was like a dogfight taking place. And then she escapes and she goes into the wider battle, which I thought was a very sort of cool cinematic looking shot.
Yeah, the score there was great as well.
Yeah. And then I also thought that what I did find funny was when that TIE got caught, like it didn't blow up. They usually spin for ages and blow up, where it either means he's a main character in the story mode and doesn't need to die, or also that he's a very, very skilled pilot and he managed to nurse that fighter back to a hangar.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's with the obviously there's the female X-wing pilot who I've just seen online, and if this is true, it's a really deep cut. There's a pilot in the briefing room at Return of the Jedi, and there's also the same looking pilot in a Galaxy of Adventures short, and apparently her name's Carrie Neth, and I think that's the name of the pilot who's piloting the X-wing at the start. I've just seen it on Twitter. I don't know if that's true, but if that's the case, then that's a deep cut.
It is, and it's very good because it's like using the story group to the full potential.
Yeah,
and it's little things, subtle things like that where like probably doesn't matter what it's called, but if you can make it relevant in that way, it's very subtle to do. And then all of a sudden you give like extra continuity and extra meaning to sort of everything with one simple thing.
Yeah, there's a pilot in the briefing room in Return of the Jedi that looks just like her, and then I've got like 3 images next to each other, and there's a pilot in Galaxy Adventures that looks just like her, and apparently the pilot in that is called Carrie Neth, so we might know the name of the main character for the New Republic side of the campaign.
I hope so. I mean, like I said, I hope even if it's not Carrie Neth, I hope it's someone who maybe does pop up in other material, because I mean, one thing about this trailer gave me a lot of vibes, and the vibes were Alphabet Squadron, and the vibes were Aftermath Trilogy.
Yes, definitely.
So we've got a lot of characters in there who we can tie these characters into. So why not do that?
Yeah, go on, but.
So just I was thinking, like the dog. Obviously, like when I first heard about the sort of a few days ago when they were tweeting about the trailer coming, I was like tweeting, "Oh, I can't wait to see some dog fights." Yeah. And then the trailer comes out, and the first thing we see is a dog fight through an asteroid field, which just looked brilliant, felt tense, felt fun. Harking back, I remember the Falcon flying through the asteroid field, being chased by TIE fighters.
Yeah.
In The Empire Strikes Back, it also made us remember Attack of the Clones. With Boba and Jango Fett chasing Obi-Wan through the asteroid field above Geonosis. So again, this sort of idea that Star Wars is pottery, sort of similar notions, sort of played right into that right there, and really did hit me in the heartstrings. I was like, "Oh, this is awesome."
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I totally agree.
We get some really cool voiceover. So we get. I'm guessing this is the New Republic. Well, I mean, for starters, let's just do the line. So the line is, remember why we fly.
Yeah.
For hope.
Yeah. For
the New Republic. So straight away to me, it's like, for the New Republic, right, we've just set the time frame for this now. It's New Republic.
Yeah.
So we are after Return of the Jedi, and probably before the events of the Battle of Jakku.
Yeah, which I'm hoping to see in the game, because I love that.
So I think it's fair to say, put this in a time frame of it's after Return of the Jedi and before Aftermath 3.
Yeah, definitely. Before Empire's End, I would have thought. Yeah, I'm guessing because apparently you are a pilot. The main character is a pilot in Vanguard Squadron, which is a part of Harrison Doula's, which we'll get to in a minute. Which is a part of Harrison Doula's battle group in the Alphabet Squadron, the first novel. So apparently you're part of the battle group that's under General Syndulla, which is a Vanguard Squadron, which is a nice little detail.
So that's great. And obviously, the fact they mention these things and tying it into the other books. Obviously, the fact, remember when Disney bought Lucasfilm, like everything's now canon going forward.
Yeah.
And it was like, how does this work? Well, it works by doing things like this. Again, just make things so subtle, but also interconnected. So with that line, I was like, oh, get in, like New Republic. Like, straight away, I was like, oh, like I'm interested when this is set now. Not that I would have been upset if it was set during the Civil War between the rebellion and the Empire, but it's like, do you know what I mean? That's when all the Rogue Squadron games were set. That's when, like, do you know what I mean? We've got sort of animated shows are sort of tying into that, and like they've got the movies where this is like delving into this area where it hasn't really been dealt with on screen or in games. It's only been dealt with in novels.
Yeah, there's a massive gap to fill between obviously Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. It's 30 years there, so you can do anything really.
Yeah, and then you also hear the Imperial commander speaking, and she says, "Do not accept defeat. Vengeance will be ours." So again, that ties into do not accept defeat, which to me was don't accept that the New Republic have won.
Yeah.
Which is what the remnants of the Empire do. They don't accept it, and that's why they fight on. And also vengeance, so it's like avenging sort of the events of the Battle of Death Star 2, the Battle of Endor.
Yeah.
Which again, so these two sets of dialogue from both sets of the war, to me, give me a time frame of when this game is set.
Yeah.
Which I enjoyed. It was a simple way to do it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love both the Alphabet Squadron. I can't wait for Shadowfall that comes out next week. And
is that next week? Is it?
Yeah, 25th. It's out.
Ooh, I might get that pre-ordered. Wow, I didn't realise it was coming so soon.
I've got mine pre-ordered at Waterstones, but I don't know what the crack is at the moment because I think it's just open Waterstones again. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's out next week, and I love the first. The first book was great, and obviously the second one is coming out now. And I love the Aftermath trilogy, and there's a fair bit of like squadron action in that, especially at the Battle of Jakku, which I love. The Battle of Jakku, I really hope one day we see it on screen because it sounds absolute. Obviously, we've seen bits and bobs in like the Battlefront 2 campaign and that, but I'd like to see like the actual full-on battle taking place.
Yeah, because it's obviously quite a huge battle. Because for those who have read Lost Stars, obviously you get sort of a part of the Battle of Jakku told there. Yeah. And then if you read Aftermath trilogy, you get a completely different part of the battle told there.
Yeah.
So like it's obviously quite a
pivotal moment.
It's quite a pivotal moment, and also like there's probably more Imperial ships here than there are at the Battle of Endor.
Yeah,
because this is where they're all hiding out. So it's like
the whole Imperial remnant is at Jakku.
Yeah, so it's a bit like visually it has a chance to be better than the Battle of Endor, which I still to this day think the Battle of Endor is the greatest space battle ever filmed.
It's that, and then Scarif is just behind for me.
Yeah. So I think like if that could be the ending of the game, I think I said you went to it this morning. Like if the Battle of Jakku is like the last level, like the last scenario, that's a pretty huge moment to sort of be a part of to end the game.
Yeah, definitely. And I know in the campaign you're going to switch between the New Republic and the Empire, so you're going to do missions as the New Republic and as the Empire. So that'd be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I loved about the sort of I don't think any of this was gameplay footage.
No, it wasn't. No.
I think they refer to it as in-engine footage.
Yeah. The gameplay footage has been revealed on the 18th.
All right, so not long now.
No,
2 days. So for me, I like the fact that we saw sort of battles in space, but then we also saw battles like sort of taking place around shipyards.
Yeah.
And then we also saw an asteroid field, asteroid belt. And then there was one scene as well where they're like inside a superstructure, sort of similar to sort of flying inside Death Star 2, similar to the trench run. So it's going to give like a wide variety of locations to play in. So each one will be challenging in a different way.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Obviously, if you're flying through an asteroid field, you've got to avoid asteroids. If in open space, might seem easier, but you're also easier to hit, so other ships can hit you more easier.
Yeah.
If you're flying through shipyards, it'll be like you've got to probably have to target certain parts of the shipyard, target new ships maybe and destroy them before they can be used. And then if you're flying through a superstructure, that's going to be like really challenging, like flying through the Death Star when you see the Falcon's dish getting knocked off. And ties hitting the walls in Return of the Jedi. It's going to be that difficult. So to me, it was like, I'm excited to play this game because each level's probably going to be different, have its own challenges.
Yeah, definitely.
They made an emphasis of 5 pilots, 1 squadron.
Yeah.
And to me, I think it'll be 5 different ships per squadron. Obviously, the different ships have the different abilities. It'll be about utilising them at the correct times to sort of win the level.
Yeah, it says here that the multiplayer is going to be first-person 5v5 multiplayer space dogfights. That's what it's going to be. So it's smaller scale than Battlefront, which is good. Like I like because I think Starfighter Assault and Battlefront was a bit of chaos. Like you just kept getting picked off. Maybe that's just because I was bad at it. I don't know.
So I've played obviously the campaign modes. I've played like the space battles in the campaign mode on Battlefront 2, but I've never played the space battles on multiplayer. Yeah. And I've never like. To be fair, when I played, my friend sets the games up and I was playing with his games.
Yeah.
So I don't even know where you would find that, but we never really played it. So I don't know if it's because it does have a bad reputation. Maybe my friend
No, it's just
doesn't enjoy them much, and that's why he doesn't play them. But
yeah, it was just kind of like there was never any like they never really I don't know they never really fixed anything, and then after that I think they just abandoned it and focused on like on ground combat, which I prefer anyway. But I'm really excited for this game. Like it just sounds really good, and like you said, for the price it's going to be, then you can't complain if it's only £30.
yeah, I mean, I'm tempted to pre-order that now just in case it shoots up in price.
Yeah, I'm going to pre-order when I get paid on Friday, I think.
Yeah. An absolutely brilliant visual, which reminded me straight back to the Solo trailer, was the Star Destroyer coming out of the clouds.
Oh yeah,
rising up out of the clouds. Hark me back to that Solo trailer when it's sort of the storm in space and the lightning goes off, and then you see the outline of the Star Destroyer.
yeah.
So I actually remember. Was that the Super Bowl trailer?
I'm not sure, to be fair.
I can't remember if the Super Bowl trailer was another event in America, but I remember it airing like in the middle of the night in the UK because I remember getting up to watch it, and then when that happened, I woke my fiance up to like see it, and like my fiance's not really into Star Wars.
Yeah, he was man.
And she was like, "You've woke me up for what?" And I was like, "It's a Star Destroyer in the cloud with the lightning storm. Like, look how awesome that looks." And she was like, "You've woke me up to look at that." And I was like, "Look, it's a Star Destroyer and the lightning storm." And like, she just didn't get it. But like, when I was in the bad books for a bit for waking her up, understandably so. I know now.
Yeah, to be fair, if she woke you up for something that you didn't really care about, I think you'd probably be the same way as well.
Yeah, but I just remember like being so excited of this like one shot of like Star Destroyer in a sort of a storm in space, being lit by lightning, and then obviously there's no lightning here, but just seeing it coming out of that cloud, it gives us like similar feelings.
It looks like Bespin, whether it is or not.
Could be. Obviously, we know the Empire targeted the home worlds of the heroes after the events of
Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, so like obviously General Calrissian.
Yeah.
And we do know that the Store's children at some point later on as well. Not very nice people.
No.
But yeah, I thought that visual was awesome. Added a bit more sort of grandeur to. Obviously, we saw these small dogfights that are really exciting. But then seeing the Star Destroyer, I was like, oh,
yeah,
maybe if we're going to have to be fighting these guys in our X-wings, it's going to add another
element,
another challenge.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, we see a New Republic now. Sorry, briefing area.
We do.
And we see Harrison Dula, General Harrison Dula. And
I was so excited for that.
I believe she's wearing the same. She's wearing like a jacket, which is the same jacket from. She's been in the Lego series.
Yeah, probably it's Freemakers. Yeah, which is a nice touch. I've never watched them, but.
Well, so I mean, they're all available on Disney Plus, I believe. But yeah, so in the Lego Freemaker Adventures, Harrison Dula appears. And although I don't think the Freemaker Adventures are technically canon,
no,
obviously Harrison Dula is a canon character, and in this Freemaker Adventures, she's wearing a brown jacket, and then in this scene, she's wearing the same brown jacket. So it's good to see that they can use continuity like that. Obviously, it makes sense to use it. Do you know what I mean? So you've designed it that way for something else in the same time period. It makes sense to come and use it here.
Yeah, and also in that briefing scene, we see the New Republic, the new Republic capital ship, which is a Nadiri Starhawk, and this is the first time we've seen it on screen. It's mentioned in the Aftermath trilogy, and one of the tabletop games has did a picture for it. This is the first time we've seen it on screen, and I can't wait to see these on screen properly because they look so cool.
Yeah, I mean, they were a big part of the beginning of the Aftermath book. I remember, like, the reference quite heavily of, like, why they were made, what they were made from. Yeah. Obviously, they're made from old Imperial ships and old ships, sort of deconstructed, then rebuilt.
Yeah.
To sort of give the New Republic the navy it needs to go after these remnants of the Empire. And they might be very powerful warships, aren't they? If I believe correctly, if I've read correctly.
Obviously, spoiler alert if anyone wants to read the Aftermath trilogy, but one of them pulls the Starhawk has a tractor beam that's apparently like 100 times more powerful than the Imperial one, and one manages to latch onto the Ravager at the Battle of Jakku and pull the Super Star Destroyer to the planet. So that was called the Concorde, I think. Yeah. So Starhawk the Concorde pulls the Ravager out of orbit and makes it crash land on Jakku.
Yeah. So obviously, if you read Aftermath, you'll know that. Some more spoilers here. Obviously, after sort of the Battle of Jakku, Mon Mothma sort of wants to sort of demilitarize the New Republic.
Yeah.
So why she falls out with Han Solo and Lando Calrissian. I'm guessing they don't decommission these Starhawks because they've just had them built and probably cost a lot of money. So obviously in the Force Awakens, it's always referenced the New Republic fleet. It seems to be something the First Order are maybe not scared of, but are very aware of and are concerned about.
Yeah.
And obviously when the Starkiller incident happens and they destroy the Hosnian system, you do see sort of ships orbiting Hosnian Prime, and then I believe it is referencing the Resistance briefing that Hosnian Prime is gone and the Resistance fleet is gone.
New Republic fleet, yeah.
The new Hosnian Prime has been destroyed and the New Republic fleet's been destroyed.
Yeah.
And they seem very concerned about the fact that that fleet's gone.
Yeah.
So maybe there's some Starhawks, maybe the last remaining ones were sort of in that New Republic fleet that then got wiped out.
I remember reading The Last Jedi novelization, and at the end of the chapter, I think it was Leia says, "Oh, what would she do for a fleet of Starhawks?" So they're still around by the time of The Last Jedi. I remember reading that in the Last Jedi novelization. Yes, so they are still about when obviously the Hosnian system is destroyed. So yeah, it could be them who get taken out with the Hosnian system.
Yeah. Well, obviously she knows what those ships are, so maybe there's none left. Obviously, they can go and build more when they want to, but obviously she knows what they were like. So it's I wish I had those with us now.
Yeah.
Maybe that type of thing. But yeah, I'm excited to see sort of those in action. We see a lot of Rebel blockade runners getting built by the looks of it.
Yeah, it looks like a New Republic, like a shipyard. Because obviously you have we've seen the Imperial shipyards, the ones at Kuwait and Fondor. And so I'm guessing this might be a New Republic shipyard.
Yes, I mean the New Republic shipyards are referenced in Aftermath.
Yeah.
So they are a big part of sort of the New Republic getting set up, so they can start chasing down the Empire and sort of take control of the galaxy. This ragtag group of fleets is not going to be enough to sort of govern. So yeah, I think for me, attacking shipyards would be cool. Although I don't know how I feel about attacking Rebel blockade runners because I love that ship.
You're gonna have to do it, mate.
You got to think it's probably everybody who's watched the original trilogy first. It's their first memory of Star Wars. So it's the first thing you see is the blockade runner getting chased by the Imperial Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
So if you then got to go and then destroy them, it's going to be a bit
bad.
I'm gonna feel conflicted when I do it, I think.
Yeah.
So this game does not yet have a rating. I imagine with it being set in space and blowing things up, it'll probably come in at a low rating. I doubt it'll be rated R or anything like that.
Yeah.
So the release date on the trailer said 10.2.2020. So when I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, get in! It's 10th of February, 2020."
Yeah.
But I'm just making sure that's not the American way because that would make it a long time away.
Yeah, it's October. It's October 2nd. That's when it's out.
So it's October 2nd. Oh, well, it's even sooner then.
Yeah.
Awesome then.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think. Yeah. Obviously, we see both squadrons, and it's cool to see a few aliens in the squadron you're going to be in the story. You've got a Trandoshan, which is weird to see a Trandoshan in the Rebellion because they're normally the bad guys.
Yeah, I spotted him straight away as Trandoshan.
I think
maybe he's just had a bad time. Maybe because I'm guessing the Empire probably treat him like shit as well when they want to.
Yeah.
So maybe he's seen something and that's why he's sort of joined the Rebellion.
There's also a Miri Allen, I think, who is the same species as Barasofi and Luminara and Dooley. And there's also a Mimbanese, which is the from Mimbam in Solo, which is a cool little touch.
So I don't remember seeing them in Solo. I remember the planet name obviously being on Mimban, but are they in the movie? You mentioned I'm not sure. I've seen them in the visual dictionary for Solo. Yeah.
But I'm sure I've seen them on screen somewhere. Maybe are they in the Mandalorian? Like at the back, I'm not sure.
Possibly. I mean, what's that species of the creature who's in Jin and also Cell? You know, the one who's about...
No idea what that is. Bloody hell. Yeah. I have no idea, to be fair.
So it's I recognise the name straight away. Like, obviously, Mimban, I recognise from Solo.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't remember actually seeing this. Because we're not there very long,
Yeah.
like, we don't really get to understand the conflict on that planet. We just know Solo's there and that's where he meets the crew.
Yeah.
And he's going to join up with, and that's where he finds Chewbacca, obviously.
That's what I've seen. But they are in Solo. It's one of what's her name? Emphas Nest, Cloud Riders.
All right,
One
cool.
of the Cloud Riders. Yeah, I thought I'd seen it. I thought I'd seen one on screen somewhere.
That's good to see that they're using these alien models that they've already got. Again, brings a bit more sort of continuity, a bit more subtle glue.
Yeah,
in the Star Wars that they do so well.
Yeah, I look for them. I live for them connections.
Have you got any other thoughts on the trailer, Ian, before we move on?
No, just it looks really good. I'm happy that obviously if it's going to be smaller scale, I'm happy with the price. I think they have learned their lesson from the whole Battlefront 2 issues when they launched it. And one other thing, apparently there's going to be no microtransactions, which is great.
Good, yeah. I think they've got to do that going forward. Like,
yeah,
you need to keep these microtransactions, these loot boxes that allow you to get better, quicker. Keep them out of the game because it's not fair.
No.
And the only design is just to make money, 100%. Which I know these companies are there to make money, but they also should be there to provide entertainment for everyone as well. You know what I mean? Like getting something for the product.
It's like I just think it's like obviously me and you are adults, and we can say I'm not going to do it. But if there's a kid playing the game and there's a thing to make his shit better, then they're going to buy it, and then the parents end up getting a massive bill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. If the card's just attached to the account and then buy, click, buy, and then like no one's probably aware of it until like
a bunch of money comes out your account.
Until you're like, how big's the like? I remember back in the day, like when I was at school, so a long time ago now, and you could buy ringtones.
Yeah.
And I had a friend at school who like we just buy them willy nilly, like all the time. And then obviously like wasn't at the end of the month when his dad got the phone bill, he'd be like son, how's this £120 phone bill?
Yeah.
Bear in mind this was before you had like Wi-Fi and 4G on your phone. Like you didn't have that type of thing on these
ringtones.
That's what they were, yeah. So like, I said he spent like £120 on them. So it was like, but he started know till the end of the month. That's where he'd already done it.
Oh yeah, you'll be very happy, like.
So sort of similar situation with sort of these games and buying these microtransactions for them. I'm very happy with the price. I wasn't expecting that, so that's really cool. It does make us think we're getting a lot smaller game.
Yeah.
Which I don't mind. I love the fact that we're getting the story campaign is going to be set when it is in the New Republic era, fighting the Empire. It's going to tie right in, like I said, Aftermath and Alphabet Squadron. And I would recommend it, sort of anybody listening, if you haven't read the Aftermath trilogy or Alphabet Squadron, it's probably the best time to read them because you're going to get it so much more out of this game by reading these books, and it's going to make a really good experience for you. So I recommend picking up the Aftermath trilogy.
Yeah.
Which you can get in paperback now, pretty cheap, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
I even remember seeing it in the works.
Yeah.
For £10.
Yeah. All three
paperback together for £10. So maybe go there and check it out.
Yeah.
And then also, obviously, Alphabet Squadron. So the first book's out now, and then as Ian said before, the second one in that trilogy is coming out. When's it coming out again, Ian?
25th or 6th of this month.
So there we go. So there's plenty of read material there to sort of keep you going, get you excited for the game coming out. I think just to quickly dive in about like the sort of the ship classes that we saw.
Yeah.
I think just to tie it up. I love the fact. So the Imperial ones were sort of obvious, except for one, which I was excited about. So obviously, we saw the normal TIE, we saw the TIE Interceptor, which is going to be the main characters, I think.
Yeah.
We saw the TIE Bomber.
Yeah.
And then we also saw, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like a TIE
TIE
troop.
Reaper.
Is that the TIE troop carrier from Rogue One?
Yeah, I think it's the TIE Reaper. Yeah, it's the TIE Reaper. Yeah.
And that's the troop carrier.
Yeah, that's the ones that bring the Death Troopers in from Rogue One.
So there we go. So that's like a troop carrier,
It's cool.
which I thought was really interesting. So you might have to like drop troops off them for ground battles, which obviously you won't be part of, but you could be doing air support for them.
Yeah, it's obviously the Imperial version of the U-wing.
Yeah.
Rogue One. So yeah.
And I think I'm missing one there. So what's the fifth ship?
What is? Let's have a look.
So that's a TIE Interceptor, TIE Bomber, Standard TIE, TIE Reaper. So that's 4, so it leaves one more. I don't know if it's a TIE Advanced maybe, but I've not seen it, so I'm just guessing.
I can't see it anywhere. Yeah, there's a TIE Fighter, TIE Interceptor, TIE Bomber, TIE Reaper. So we're missing one. I don't know whether they'll just be like another TIE Fighter or something.
Imagine if they went TIE Defender.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was thinking, I hope the TIE Defender's in this game, but then you'd have to explain where it is because obviously Thrawn's been out the picture for a while. I was hoping that. I hope we get the B-wing on the Rebel side as well.
Yeah. So which ships have we seen Rebel-wise? We've seen X-wing, we've seen A-wing, we've seen Y-wing, we've seen U-wing.
I think we've seen a B-wing somewhere, but I don't know whether you can pilot it. Which I hope you can. I love the B-wing.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be complex to pilot with the way it rotates around the cockpit. So it'd be very interesting to see how they do that. It'd be really fun.
The whole game's in first person as well.
All right, interesting.
Yeah, which will be a trip like. And yeah,
so
yeah. Go on.
I've not played first person in a long time. Like I try to stay away from it when I'm playing like single player games.
Yeah, I don't like first person, but it'll be interesting to see. Like,
is that because it's going to be? Is the campaign going to be VR compatible? Is that correct?
The campaign, you can play the whole You can play the whole game in VR on PS4 and PC.
Wow, that'll be. I mean, I don't have VR. But
I don't have VR. That will be crazy. Like,
yeah, that'll be one. I don't know. I'm probably not going to buy VR for the game because how much VR is, but
too expensive. They'll come down eventually.
But I might see which of my friends have it, and then go and have a go of theirs. Go and have a shot of theirs.
They're too expensive at the moment, especially when you think PS5 and Xbox Series X is coming out for the end of the year. So
yeah. So yeah, I think that ties up sort of the review of the trailer. I think the game's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. I think it's going to be more arcade based, less sort of emotional and not as deep as perhaps Skyfall or what I was. I certainly got those vibes in the trailer, which again I don't mind. Like I said, you don't want every game that you get to be that emotional, that deep, because you're just going to tire yourself out of caring so much about everything. But no, it looks a lot of fun. Like I said, it harkens back to sort of Rogue Squadron, like you said, Ian, and also like didn't LucasArts produce like TIE Fighter and X-Wing like games back in like the 80s and early 90s that was sort of similar to this, like simulator type games?
I remember a game called Rebel Assault. I don't know whether. But other than that, I'm not sure, to be honest, because obviously it's probably I was too young to know anything about that.
Yeah, I remember getting like a LucasArts box set type thing when I think I was about 9. And I remember the discs having like X-Wing and TIE Fighter written on them. And I don't think I ever played them, to be honest.
Yeah.
So God knows, probably my mum's loft. But I remember seeing them, so I think they are like, obviously LucasArts do a lot of games, but I think like games like this probably harken back to sort of that heritage of the company.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I love the old LucasArts games. They were great.
Definitely. So moving on from Star Wars Squadrons, we've had a couple of questions come in on the Facebook page. If anybody doesn't follow us on Facebook, just find us. Just search Star Wars Podcast, and you will find us on there. So we've had a question from Nathan Murray, and Nathan Murray asks, "What's the potential of Obi-Wan and Ahsoka having a reunion in the Kenobi series?"
Oh. I'm not sure about that. What do you think?
I think potential's there, 100% potential for that to happen. I think obviously the reason why the potential there is because obviously it appears we've already cast Ahsoka in live action now, so we've got the actress Rosario Dawson. So like you don't have to worry about that. I think would it make sense? I think they can make it make sense if they want to do it.
Yeah, definitely could make sense.
But for me,
yeah.
For me, if they do it, it needs to make 100% sense. Like it needs to fit. It needs to fit.
Yeah.
Because for me, when she's talking about like, I don't know, like in Rebels when Ezra goes, like he doesn't really mention Ahsoka. I know he doesn't mention her to him either.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And when she's talking about Anakin and Obi-Wan, she's like, Master Kenobi would like think this, and it's like it's referencing to like back to the Clone Wars, not so much to after.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think obviously there's that, and I think obviously like if they do meet, Ahsoka's going to know about Anakin's children.
Yeah.
In which case, I think like that changes a lot of things in the story.
Yeah.
Because she'd probably want to be there as well for Anakin's children.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And also, if she does meet him, I imagine they'll have a conversation about what happened, and then there will be no doubts in her mind.
Yeah.
That that Anakin became Vader.
Yeah.
When we see it in Rebels, like she tells she maybe thinks it but doesn't believe it. Like until he reveals himself really at the end of Twilight of the Apprentice. So I think it's like, are you going to have Obi-Wan like tell a lie again?
Yeah,
where like
point of view. Yeah.
But I think that works on Luke because Luke doesn't have any context.
Yeah, it's obviously part of the trick of Ahsoka.
But like Ahsoka, you can't go, oh well, my other apprentice Vader, because she'll be like, you don't have an apprentice called Vader, mate. Like I knew you throughout the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So I think like potential of it, yes. But as I've just said there is problems that occur if you do it. So I think if they do it, they need to make it. It needs to fit 100%.
Yeah,
it needs to be a natural part of the story, not just shoehorn that in.
Yeah, which
for the sake of it.
Yeah, I totally agree with it.
But I mean, it depends because you got to think it's only one story. Like we obviously don't know the full details of the series. Obviously, know it's going through some rewrites at the moment.
Yeah,
just getting fine tuned. Obviously, like who's to say that you don't? Like, I'm not saying they're gonna not have a reunion. Like, they might not have a reunion, but it could like show you another part of the galaxy in a scene where you see Ahsoka. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And tie in that way a little bit, where they don't actually have a reunion, which is just in the show. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I think it's okay not to have her in every show though, because at the moment it sounds like she's going to be in every show.
Well, that's the thing. You've got to be careful. Like, I think you've got to remember. Like, I always remember Dave Filoni talking about Rebels, and he was very much like with Darth Vader, like less is more.
Yeah.
Like you use him sparingly because when you use him, he's got to be. Like as we see when he sets the trap for the Rebels at the beginning of season 2.
Yeah.
Like he's very powerful and a big part of the story.
Sorry,
and then you have to sort of. It's okay. We're a dog-friendly show here, so he's welcome to. Is he a he or is he a she?
It's a boy. He's a boy.
It's a boy. So he's very welcome to his views on Ahsoka and Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Although, yeah. So I think that. Like Vader's less is more.
Yeah.
And when they're using these big presents, so I think you use like at the beginning of season 2 and then at the end of season 2, these main bits. Like I said, very big dramatic moments in the entire Star Wars story.
Yeah.
But then in between, he's like a shadow. He's like he'll be referenced or he'll send a transmission, but he's not really involved.
Yeah.
That's why you have the Inquisitors type of thing. They're in the show all the time and getting beat all the time. Vader doesn't get beat all the time. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So not like if you're any wrestling fans, like the Undertaker, like less is more.
Yeah.
Undertaker doesn't do much in the build up of storylines. Even in his matches, he can move very slow and robotic sometimes, but then all of a sudden, like that, you'll click in and do something, and you're like, "Oh wow, what's he done? Wow, Undertaker's back and he's done this," and then he'll vanish again before you even know. While he's still talking about it, he's gone again.
Yeah.
And that's why he's lasted as long as he has. Like, I mean, nearly 30 years now as a main event character for the WWE. Obviously Vader's lasted 43, 44 years now.
Yeah.
So I think less is more. So I think with Ahsoka, obviously, like when she came into Rebels, she obviously sort of fit in, and again she was used sparingly, like just used like where needed type of thing. With the talk about coming into Mandalorian, I mean, again, I think she'll come in. I think she'll be in maybe 1 or 2 episodes. I can't see her being in the whole season. So I think you've got to use her where she fits, and I think with this, I don't think she doesn't like fit in straight away. Do you know what I mean? But it does depend what story they're telling. But like if it's a story of Obi-Wan finding himself and sort of realigning with the Force and centering himself and becoming peaceful, then like I don't think she really has a part of that story.
No, neither do I.
But I imagine we'll find out what story that is. And like I said, I'm sure that. I mean, I don't know how much control Dave has over the character now. I know he has, in the animation world, he has 100% control of his character. But like, if they decide to put her in something,
I think he still has control. To be fair.
I would like to think, but obviously, I know that he wouldn't put her in if he thought it was not right for the story.
Yeah, definitely.
And our next question, so it's more of there's a few questions here. It's by Matty Alden. Hi, Matty. Thanks for listening. So his first question is, do you think that any future material we get, either books, games, or TV shows, will be as good as the Legends are? And he also goes on to say, I would like to see Kyle Katarn in a TV show.
Yeah.
So for me, I think like Legends, it's a double-edged sword. Legends, it's almost like, again, going back to wrestling, it's almost like the Attitude Era of WWE, where like everybody remembers the Attitude Era of being absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Because you had Rock and Stone Cold like on top of the game, and you had like Triple H on top of his game, Chris Jericho on top of his game, Undertaker, Kane on top of the game. But people forget things like Mark Henry giving birth to a hand, or Kai and Tai pretending to circumcise Val Venus. Like the silly things that don't make sense in wrestling. Do you know what I mean? People forget about. So that Attitude Era was the best stuff in that Attitude Era was the best. But then the worst stuff in the Attitude Era was the worst, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think with Legends obviously, because it ran for so long, had so many different people working on it. Like, there's some absolutely brilliant stories in Legends. But, and that's the ones that we remember and always talk about, but there's also some, like, not so good things in Legends.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to remember that, I think. But I think future material we get will be as good as Legends. I think we're already getting a lot of good. I think like the Darth Vader comics that we've had recently, the second set, Dark Lord of the Sith, that was brilliant. I thought Doctor Aphra comic was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
I thought the Poe Dameron comic series absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
I thought the Anakin Obi-Wan one shot was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
I haven't finished it yet, but I've been reading the normal Star Wars line. Before the reboot, I really. Not every issue was brilliant, but the overall story I really, really enjoyed, really dug it.
Yeah.
I think novel-wise, I absolutely loved the first Thrawn book. I absolutely loved Aftermath 2, Aftermath 3.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved Battlefront 2, Inferno Squad, the book.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved the Aftermath, the Battlefront 2 campaign.
Yeah.
I think Jedi Fallen Order has a brilliant story as well as a brilliant game. I've been reading Black Spite Outpost. I'm really, really enjoying that. Lost Stars. It's probably my favourite Star Wars book ever. So I think we've already got like material that's up there with the best of Legends.
Yeah, like what people need to remember as well is with Legends there was no films, there was no TV shows, there was nothing. It was just that was it. So obviously you could do a lot more with those books. You could make them more wider ranging stories and that. The canon's a bit more self-contained because obviously the biggest stories are going to be told on screen. And there's stuff in Legends like the Darth Bane trilogy, Darth Plagueis, the Thrawn original trilogy, like stuff like that is top tier. And like you said, there's also stuff that is like I'm not going to say stupid because people might enjoy it, but it's just not for me. And like I said, it'll take a long time for anything tops Darth Plagueis or the Darth Bane trilogy for me. Like, but I've really enjoyed the canon. It's a lot more interwoven. And yeah, there's been a few like continuity errors in it, but I've really enjoyed it. Obviously, as someone who buys all the books, I'm going to say that. But it's just a case of, I think people need to go a bit easier on the books and the comics and all that. Because like I said, there was no films when Legends was out. There wasn't going to be any more films. So, and now there is. So I think the books are never going to be on a grander scale like that. But I really enjoyed them. I like Master Apprentice, anything like Claudia Gray, Alphabet Squadron, stuff like that. Yeah. So, but then I said I love stuff from Legends, the Darth Bane trilogy, Darth Plagueis, and there's another Sith one as well. I can't remember what it is. I don't know. But yeah, I don't. Sometimes I don't get this whole like Legends canon thing. Like, it's just a case of enjoy what you want to enjoy. If you really like a Legends book, just stick it into your own personal canon.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing: you remember, like, sort of, although the went Legends isn't part of the canon anymore. Like the Disney Lucasfilm Press reprinted all of Legends with a Legends sticker on, so you can rebuy it. So they're still making money off of it, and it's still available to buy pretty much most of it. Do you know what I mean? So they haven't like wiped it off the face of the earth.
Yeah, exactly. And if you enjoy the Legend stuff, then just like I said, just put it into your own personal head canon. You still can enjoy the stories.
Yeah, definitely. So I think like that's where I come from. I think like, and also I think like, although the stories that we get now, as you said before, like aren't really as like grand as the movies, but I think the stories now, the new canon all ties into itself and into the movies.
Yeah.
Where the Legends didn't used to do it as much.
No.
I find so. I think you get more connectivity out of it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It links more into the stories that are being told, and you can access it all like one giant sort of story map.
Yeah.
Which is very fun. When you catch a little line that references something that you read previously.
I love that bit, yeah.
And it's one of those things where like it doesn't change the story, so anyone reading it for the first time doesn't lose anything in the story. But it means if you have done the other further reading, and then you read that bit, not only do you know where you're in the story, but then also you're like, oh wow, like this is where I am in the galaxy. Oh wow, this is referencing that, and it's like it's like almost jaw dropping. Like I love it when it happens. So Matty also asked in the back of that question, he's got another two here as well. You would like to see Kyle Katarn in a TV show?
I don't know anything about Kyle Katarn, I'm going to be honest.
So is he is the guy from, is it Jedi Outcast?
Yeah, I think I vaguely know who he is, but I have no idea about his story. I know apparently a lot of it is in Kanan Jarrus, that type of thing. But I have no idea who he is.
I mean, what I would say is if he's around for Return of the Jedi, which is when those games are set, I believe, because it's like the school of Luke Skywalker, isn't it? Is that right?
Yeah.
So like, obviously, he could appear in the Mandalorian if he's going to make him canon. But I wouldn't hold your hopes on that. The good thing is that they do handpick things from Legends to bring into canon. So like I said, Thrawn for starters. I honestly believe they're going to do the same with the history of the Sith. So whether that's Darth Bane, and that type of thing, I honestly believe that's going to happen. Whether it's in a movie, whether it's a TV show, or whether it's a game, I don't know. But I can see that happening in the next 10 years. So like you are handpicking these things. So like I said, if the Star Wars is going to be around forever now, so you know, it might not happen this decade, Matty, but in the Star Wars is around forever now. So there could very well be a chance when they bring Kyle Katarn into the canon for you. His next question is, what books, comics, etc. do you recommend to someone who wants to start reading them? So I think for me, Matty, I think start with Lost Stars by Claudia Gray. It is a YA book, but don't let that put you off. It's brilliantly written. It is a love story, but again, don't let that put you off if you're not in love stories, because it essentially tells a story of two people's journey throughout the events of the original trilogy, and it ends with the Battle of Jakku, so it ties into the sequel trilogy brilliantly as well. And I think you'll read this book really quick, Matty. Like I said, it's a YA, most challenging to read, but also it flows really well. Claudia Gray did a fantastic job. The book flows really well. It really does feel like Star Wars. And like I said, it references these events you've seen in the original trilogy. So it's like, again, it's like telling you something it's telling you something different about something you already know, so it feels very familiar, feels very at home. But your game just makes you want to read more. And like I said, it ties into sort of the Battle of Jakku, which obviously you want to know about because you've seen the Clash Star Destroyers in Force Awakens and you want to know what happened to them. And you're going to get a little bit of that here. So it's very much a really, really cool starting off point to sort of start you off with the nostalgia of the original trilogy, but also telling you things about it. And then, like I said, it dives into that time after Return of the Jedi, which we don't really know much about, and it feeds information on that. And I found that very exciting. Have you got a book you would recommend to Matthew to start reading?
I've got a couple. I'd recommend Master and Apprentice. If you're into the prequels and you like Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn, Master and Apprentice again by Claudia Gray is excellent. It tells the story. I think it's set about 8 years before the Phantom Menace, and they go to a planet in the Outer Rim to figure out. I'm not going to go into like too many details, but to go on a mission, and it's great. It's great Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon stuff. And then another one I'd recommend Alphabet Squadron if you're into like ships and pilots and all that type of stuff. It's a really good read. It's definitely a challenging read. It took me a while to read it because it was so much detail in it, but I thought it's a really good read. And as for comics, the Darth Vader series, you can't go wrong with both of them. The second one's probably better than the first one. There's a third series now, but that's been on hold for ages with the COVID stuff. But yeah, the Charles Soule Darth Vader comic run, it's 25 issues, is unbelievable. And I'd recommend that. So Charles Soule's Darth Vader, Alphabet Squadron, and Master and Apprentice, I'd say.
Yeah, and for me, Matty, comics-wise, I recommend the Poe Dameron comic series. I think it runs for 5 volumes now. That it dives into sort of Poe's story, sort of before the events of Force Awakens, and then it takes you into the events of after The Last Jedi. So it sits really well alongside the sequel trilogy, mate. So like, definitely read that, and it gives you a lot further information and knowledge about the sequel trilogy.
Also by Charles Soule.
Also by Charles Soule, there you go. Charles Soule's the man.
For comics, he is, eh?
Yeah. And then Charles Soule, I believe, is moving into novels, isn't he? Is he the first novel of the
Light of the Jedi, yeah.
For the new High Republic era?
Yeah, the High Republic, The Light of the Jedi, which is out in January now. It's supposed to be in August, but it's obviously been delayed.
And his next question, which I'll read the question, but I'm going to stay away from it just for obvious reasons. If you could change 1 or 2 things in the films to be a better story, what would you change and why?
I don't know, really, to be honest. I can't really think of anything.
I think we just need to sort of like accept that like there might be things we don't like in these stories, but at the end of the day, these filmmakers have put it together. And if we start thinking that way about changing things, then like when does it become?
Yeah.
When do you stop changing things? Do you know what I mean? I'd say leave the changing things to George when he does his special editions.
To be fair, if I could change one thing, I probably would have preferred it if Kylo Ren survived. That's the only thing I'd probably change. Not because I wanted him to get with Rey. I just think it would have been a more interesting story if he had lived and then had to deal with the consequences of what he'd done. That's the only thing I'd change.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, I think for Ben Solo to sort of redeem himself would have been a very powerful message of Star Wars, which is that you can always make a choice to be better.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter whatever you've done in the past, your next decision, you can make a different one.
Yeah.
And it doesn't reverse what you've done in the past.
No.
But you can make a choice to be better. And if you're constantly doing that, then that's a positive thing in this world.
Yeah.
So I think obviously, like, though Kylo did sort of do some positive things at the end, like he did turn up at that battle at the right time to sort of save Rey.
Yeah.
And then obviously he did give his life energy to save her. So she can now go on and live the legacy of the Jedi and bring the Jedi Order back, or whatever's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? I think like I think if he'd survived, because you've got to remember although Ben has made bad decisions and horrific decisions,
Yeah.
like he is very much like if you read the Kylo Ren comics, he was very much groomed from a very young age, and like his mum was absent like a bit.
Yeah.
His mum was absent, and his father wasn't really ready for fatherhood when Ben came along. He loved him, but he wasn't ready for fatherhood.
Yeah.
He had this legacy of the greatest uncle of all time to sort of live up to.
Yeah.
And then obviously he wasn't told the truth about his grandfather. He found that out.
Yeah.
Like through means he shouldn't have done. So like I think like do you know what I mean? Ben didn't make decisions because he just wanted to be evil because he's evil.
Yeah.
Like he made decisions because like I think A was manipulating and doing it, and B like he was a very hurt soul, a very hurt individual.
Yeah.
So I think to kill him off when he started to come back, I think like I don't know, you almost make him a martyr.
Yeah.
And for me, it would have been nice to see him survive, and then like and see what he then went on to do. Do you know what I mean? Like whether he left Ray to it and he went off into the galaxy to do something else, or do you know whether I very much stay with Ray?
Yeah. I just think it would have been a bit more interesting, but. And this is coming from someone I like the Rise of Skywalker, so it's not me complaining about the film at all.
Yeah, it's just one little thing that we think.
Yeah, a little thing in your head where you think, well, it could have been different, but that's not the story that was told. So yeah, I'm with you. Like, as soon as you start going, oh well, this would have made this better.
Yeah, it's like you know me. Like I think I was more critical to the Rise of Skywalker than you were.
Yeah.
You can't like change the mood. Like I can't change it. Do you know what I mean? Like I've never made a film in my life. I've like, do you know what I mean? Like who am I to say that needs? Yeah. I can say I don't like it and say why I don't like it, which I did do on the review of the podcast. I always talk about the things I like about the movie because there was things I liked in the Rise of Skywalker as well. But I think I'm going to stay away from like diving too much into wanting to change things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, I think that's my last thought on that question. Yeah. Very good questions on Matty, very thought-provoking. I hope you pick up some of those books and comics that were recommended. I think you really enjoy them. And I think, Matty, if you're going to be getting Star Wars Squadrons, obviously, like I said, I'd pick up Aftermath Trilogy. I'd pick up Alphabet Squadron 1 and 2 when it comes out in a few weeks and dive into them because, like I said, they're going to pay off when you get this game made.
Yeah, they definitely will, yeah.
So let's move on to some other news to talk about. So I know last time we got together, Ian, obviously was casting news broke of The Mandalorian Season 2.
Yeah.
And at the time, sort of Timmy Olyphant had been announced. We talked about him being announced. And then it was like a couple of days later, maybe be the next day after the episode, it was sort of announced that he's probably playing the character from one of the interludes in the Aftermath stories, which you know a lot better than me. So I'll let you take it away on who we think Timothy Olyphant is playing in Mandalorian Season 2.
Yeah, basically the news came out that Timothy Olyphant will don Boba Fett's armor. And the last person who is like pretty much confirmed to have it, because they never come out right and say it, but it's heavily intimated that it is Boba Fett's armor, is Cobb Vanth, who is a former slave turned lawman on Tatooine, who is basically fighting to make Tatooine a better place. Obviously, a lot of slavery on Tatooine. Him being an ex-slave, it's a fight close to his heart. He fights off a group of a crime syndicate called the Red Key Raiders, who were trying to take over Tatooine, obviously after the Jabba's death and the power vacuum left by that. And he starts a town called Freetown, which used to be called Mos Pelgo. And that is a town where basically it's just for freedom. And he fights off the Red Key Raiders. And that is the last time, that's the last instance where we've seen Boba Fett's armor in the canon. So if they're going by the canon, unless they change the character, which I doubt they're going to do, it will be Boba Fett versus Cobb Vanth, I would have thought, in The Mandalorian Season 2.
So do you think, so obviously I think that's pretty if Timothy Oliphant is wearing that armor, I think he is Cobb Vanth. So do we think it's Cobb Vanth who finds Ming-Na Wen's character in the desert?
I do now. Yeah, I do now because obviously if he's a sheriff, a lawman in Tatooine, obviously someone's been shot out in the dunes, then I would think he would go and investigate that type of thing. Obviously, at the time I didn't think. At the time I thought it was Boba Fett, but it makes more sense actually now if it is Cobb Vanth.
We got to think the reason why we think it's Boba Fett is because of the boot spurs sound effect. So obviously, if he's wearing the same suit, the suit will make the same noise.
Yeah.
So your thought process is correct. Still, it's just a case of the person in that outfit is different.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think it is Cobb Vanth who finds Ming-Na Wen, which is going to be interesting when she comes back alive. I think she can't really hate the Mandalorian too much because he didn't kill her.
Yeah.
But we'll find out whether she ends up teaming up with. Because I can see Ming-Na Wen's character maybe teaming up with Moff Gideon.
Yeah.
Just a feeling. Just a good feeling I've got on that one. Obviously, we've had the reports as well that obviously Temuera Morrison was reprising his role of an adult Boba Fett.
Yeah.
If that's true as well, do you think we'll get Boba Fett hunting down Cobb Vanth for his armor back?
I think so, yeah. I don't know whether it'll just be like a brief like interlude type thing. I don't know whether they're building up Boba Fett to be like the Thanos of the Mandalorian, if you get me. Then eventually we see Din Djarin take on Boba Fett, like maybe like a couple of series down the road. Maybe they keep building it season after season. Boba Fett's back, he's coming, and then all of a sudden the Boba Fett's trying to take the child from the thing, and then we finally see Boba Fett versus the Mandalorian. Maybe that's what's going to happen.
Could be. I think I'm very interested to see how this season goes. I want to see how different this season is to the first season, and like I think that'll give a big feel of to what we can expect going forward for future seasons. I think obviously for Boba Fett to want to fight the Mandalorian, they need to put some conflict in there as to sort of why that would happen.
Yeah.
Which obviously we're not being briefed on yet. But you never know. That could just be in the background. Like Boba Fett kills this guy, gets his armor back. After this guy saves Ming-Na Wen's character, and then the story follows Ming-Na Wen's character. And then we don't see Boba Fett again. We just know he's got his armor back. And then that can be a story told elsewhere.
Yeah, because there's rumours of a Boba Fett show being in development. So
yeah, I mean, we've got to go back. I mean, so like off the back of that, obviously, there's been rumours last night with no sources. I don't think so. Like these are rumours, listeners. No sources quoted on any of this as of yet, but we're going to talk about them as rumours. Sort of the Dave Filoni rumour, Ian. You read it a lot more than I have, so I'll let you take the lead on it.
Basically, the Dave Filoni rumour is that he will be heading up he'll be heading up the TV side of Disney Plus, and he will be heading up shows about Ahsoka Tano, Ezra and Thrawn, Boba Fett. Just trying to read what else was said. Yeah, Boba Fett and another character. I can't remember who the character was. Yeah, and an untitled show starring a new character. So basically, he's going to be. The plan is to have the show start mid 2021, and have a Star Wars show releasing every quarter with one big inspiration being like from Game of Thrones. Dominic Filoni be heading up shows, obviously that have one overarching storyline that will all come together.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think with Dave, like Dave's a good storyteller. So like my worry would be, and this is why I think this rumour's maybe not 100% what it seems. He's probably involved, don't get us wrong, in discussions. But my worry would be if he's going to be like the overseer, like the Kevin Feige of this TV universe, what Kevin Feige is for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, then like Dave Filoni's not going to have time to be behind the camera, directing things on set. Like,
Right.
and that's where he's at his best. Like, he's at his best telling stories,
Yeah.
not at his best policing the storytellers. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So for me, I hope it's not true in a way, because like I want him to be able to like be behind the camera and like be on set. But as we saw the Mandalorian, like he was on set anyway, like even with the other guys, and he was a big part of it. So that's okay. But I think if he's doing that for 4 shows, then he's not going to have time to direct episodes and write.
Yeah.
And I think like that's would be, although you do a good job at it, I'd rather him be telling stories. And I think he's very much like George, where he's like, he doesn't want to become the machine. He wants to be part of the machine, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like George was a filmmaker at heart who wanted to make films, and then at the end of the day, the studio system, the machine, like wouldn't allow him to do the things he wanted to do.
Yeah.
So he ended up becoming the machine, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which he had to do the things he wanted to do. But then I think, like, do you know what I mean? Like it's a double-edged sword, that one. And I think Dave's sort of similar, where like he loves telling stories. He's a storyteller at heart. Like, he learned from George how to tell stories in the Star Wars universe, as well as his own knowledge from his past storytelling experiences on things like King of the Hill he worked on, and Avatar: The Last Airbender, just to name a couple of shows. That 2 very different shows, but obviously he's got a diverse wheelhouse of storytelling knowledge. So for me, I think like I don't mind him being involved and consulting on stuff, and they should consult them on things that they're doing. But like, I really don't want him to be like the head executive of Lucasfilm Television, which is essentially what the rumours are saying, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's just my thoughts on it. I mean, I don't know how you feel about him. I know it's like, to me, it sounds like when you hear his name, oh yes, he should be in charge because he's a great guy and he knows it because he does. But I think we'd lose him from like doing the other aspect of his job that he's so good at.
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to agree with you in that. Like, but I do think he'd do a great job as the overseer, and I think he probably could find time to direct an episode here, direct an episode there, and it certainly would all be a lot better connected if Dave was the head of everything. So yeah, I'm in 2 minds. Like, I think it'd be a great idea, but then like I said, it's only a rumor. You don't know if it's true. We don't know if we're getting a show about Ezra and Thrawn. We don't know if we're getting a Boba Fett show. We don't know these things until. I'm very much in the mindset. I like to discuss rumours, but until something's officially put out on the Star Wars website, then I'd take it with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, because here's the thing as well. If he is doing that role, that sort of sending these rumours, he's not going to have time for any animation work. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Which if he, do you mean he still likes the animation tool of storytelling? He's still a master of it. So, like, if they are doing an Ezra and Thrawn animated show, like, you probably want him involved in it. So I think tie him down to every live action show, I think, would be like a negative thing for the company to do.
Yeah.
Have you got any other bits of news or rumours that you want to talk about, Ian?
I haven't got anything, mate. I think we've discussed everything. I think we're.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think, last thing, obviously, as of yesterday, Star Wars Celebration has been cancelled for the year 2020. It will be returning to Celebration Anaheim still in 2022, so it's 2 years away now. I'm not surprised. It's the right decision. Like, if you think about, you can't have 100,000 people coming from all over the world going to a convention centre, very crowded, queuing for things, and do that safely during the coronavirus pandemic. There's no way you could 2 meter social distance that. Like, you'd have to double the size, maybe triple the size of the convention space that you're using.
Yeah.
And then even then, you've got to trust people to do it. When people are trying to get exclusives and trying to see friends, like, do you know what I mean? Like, when I see my friends, like if I see Daniel Berry off, I see Savannah off, I see Brian Balance, I'm going to want to give them a hug.
Yeah.
And if I travel all the way across the world to see them and I can't even do that, like, it would be weird.
Yeah.
And a bit, I don't know, sad almost. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, like I said, you wouldn't be able to, like, the panels, you couldn't. So, say you've got a 5,000 seat arena for the panels, you would have to, like, probably only put a third of that in.
Yeah.
So again, the same amount of people are going to be going because you've sold the tickets, and then you're only going to get only a third will be lucky enough to get in the panels. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like, there's just no way you could run Celebration with social distancing measures in place.
Yeah.
So they've made the right decision. As for moving it, basically what they've done is they've cancelled this year's event. Obviously, recently they now do Celebration 1 year, and then Disney's D23, the Disney Expo the year after, and then it goes Star Wars Celebration, and then the year after that is another D23 annual Expo. So obviously they're sticking to that plan, so they haven't rejigged anything. So Star Wars Celebration will not happen this year. D23 will go ahead next year as planned, unless this virus isn't under control, I'm assuming.
I hope it is.
It should be. Like, fingers crossed. I really do hope so. And then obviously, like, the next Star Wars Celebration would have been 2022. So all they've done is they've just essentially said we'll keep it in the same location, but it's going to take place when the next one was meant to take place.
Yeah.
And those with tickets, obviously you can just transfer them over, or you can get a refund. It's one of those things for me, but I wasn't going to Star Wars Celebration Anaheim 2020.
Yeah.
Now they've moved it, I can probably go just to 2022.
Yeah.
Like that's far enough in advance where like my wedding would have, I'll be married by then, which is obviously a big cost.
Yeah.
And I'll be able to save towards that, which is good news. I don't know how we'll go about getting tickets because obviously it depends on how many people transfer over. And I know that obviously everyone who's in the Light queue, so Light is the app or the website where you can officially sell your Celebration tickets for face value.
Yeah.
And it's the only official way of transferring them over to other people. So I don't know how it works for people in the Light queue. I'm hoping, because I'm not in a Light queue, because the Light works where you sign up, you go in a queue system, and as tickets get released back to them, they sell to people in the Light queue, and it just goes through automatically. So obviously I wasn't going if it was happening this year. So obviously now I need to know whether I need to join the Light queue if the re-release tickets for 2022 are going to go in there, or are they going to sort of put them back out for sale on the official website?
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. Yeah,
but they're probably still figuring that out, to be honest. I imagine.
I would have thought.
So yeah, like I do feel for everybody who was planning on going this August, because Star Wars celebrations are awesome, but and obviously like they are the best place in the world to be when they're on. Like I said, they're so positive and so fun, and you have the best time ever. But I think like if it had went ahead, like they would have had to maybe, like I said, third the capacity. And like it wouldn't be the same Celebration experience as what you get previous years. So I do feel for you guys who were going who now cannot go because you're losing out on that. But I think if it had went ahead, it wouldn't have been the same thing that you used to, or the same thing you've seen on YouTube or seen online. It wouldn't have been the same experience. I think it's worth waiting. And the good thing for you guys who are going is that you've got the ability to keep your tickets for the next one, so you don't have to buy again or queue again, which I think which is a really really cool thing. Yeah, well, there's that as well, because I bet all that merch was printed.
Yeah,
and I've seen on Twitter today some like obviously a lot of people take their own swag to hand out and trade.
Yeah,
it's obviously all data, so there'll be podcasts and YouTube shows and all different kinds of Star Wars creatives going there with swag and merch printed up with like Star Wars Celebration 2020 on it. So I think they're a bit like, what do I do with this now? But for me, it's like, I don't know, if I do go to 2022, like there's a story behind that now. It's like, this is the one that got cancelled.
Yeah.
This is the one that got postponed. It's 2 years late. So like for me, I wouldn't be too bothered. And if someone was handing in swag out and I got one and had the 2020 date on, it'd be like, that's a story to tell someone when you show them, look at this. And they'd be, but wasn't that 2022? But well, it was, but the pandemic happened in this year. And like, it didn't go ahead as planned. We had to wait 2 years to go. And this is the original T-shirt. This is the original badge, the original date. because we had them made ready to go because it only got cancelled a few months beforehand. So it sort of tells that story where I wouldn't be too. And it was one of those things where if I was there and someone went, "Oh, like here's," if someone handed us a pin badge for their podcast or their YouTube show, went, "Oh, here you're going to have the wrong date on," I would be like, "Oh, it's the wrong date." I would just be like, "Oh, this is awesome." It's like this person's been waiting 2 years to hand these out.
Yeah.
Like, how exciting is that to finally be here and finally be doing it? Like, it tells a story.
Yeah.
I think it's quite exciting. So yeah, there's that. Have you got any thoughts on the celebration move?
No, I wasn't going there this year. It's like you say, it sucks for people who are going to go. I totally understand why they cancelled it because, like you said, you can't do it. Like everything's being cancelled at the moment. You just can't. No, you can't do it because, yeah, for the variety of reasons you went through. But yeah, it gives people a chance. People who aren't going to go, if they're going to release tickets, to try and go in 2022, and it'll come back around. It'll soon be 2022 before we know it, and everyone will be excited again.
Yeah, definitely will. And last thing, Ian, have you bought any Star Wars merchandise lately?
I bought
no, obviously,
sorry.
Obviously, the stores have been shut, but online retail has been open the whole pandemic. Have you been splashing the Star Wars dollars?
I did buy the little baby, the child Black Series figure the other day. It came the other day. It's a tiny, tiny box, and it's by my bedside table at the moment. It's really cool. Like I put it on there. I put a picture on Twitter for that. And
so is that the Black Series 6-inch series? But obviously, Baby Yoda's the scale, so he's not 6-inch, but he's the correct scale for that series figure.
Yeah. Because I think I'm due the Mandalorian coming at some point this month as well, so it'd be good to put them two together.
Awesome. Where did you order these through?
Star Action, you know.
Star Action figures. No, I think like that's obviously like we don't know the people who run Star Action figures, and this is not a paid for promotion. But like whenever I deal with Star Action figures here in the UK, you get a fantastic service and a really reasonable price product as well. So anybody who's looking to buy Star Wars figures who can't get to the shops, as I said, check out Star Action figures. Which Mandalorian have you ordered, Ian?
I've got it came off for Force Friday, the brown carbonized packet one. That one's coming, and then I also have the Beskar one that's coming out in August. So that one's coming in August.
So I've got the carbonized one, number 94 in the collection. So what's the difference between this and the Beskar one?
Yeah,
obviously I know it must have the new armor, the Beskar armor. I'm assuming
that's basically it, and it's got the new packaging as well.
And so I've not pre-ordered him, so I'm probably not going to get him this time around. I don't think. But he did look cool. I have pre-ordered though. I've got the Boba Fett carbonized.
Yeah, I've got him as well.
Pre-order.
Yeah, I've got him pre-ordered as well.
And I've got the Stormtrooper carbonized.
No, I didn't get him, but I've got the Boba Fett. The Boba Fett one's looked really cool.
Yeah, so I'm excited for those to arrive. I've also got the Imperial Probe droid pre-ordered.
Yeah, the Empire Strikes Back one.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited to get him when he finally comes.
I also got Queen Shadow the other day. Not Queen Shadow, Queen's Peril.
Is that the sequel to Queen Shadow?
It's a prequel to Queen.
A prequel? Oh, there we go. In true Star Wars fashion.
It's set during the Phantom Menace.
Oh, lovely. Is this by E.K. Johnson as well?
Is, yeah.
I think I've got Queen's Peril. I've not. Oh, sorry, what's the first one called?
Queen Shadow. Yeah, Queen Shadow's the first one, and then it's Queen's Peril the second one.
So I've got that one, but I haven't got to read it yet.
Yeah.
Do you recommend reading that one?
Good read. Yeah, it's a good read.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to checking it out. I think my next thing is I'm trying to read through Master and Apprentice, and then I've got Thrawn 3 to read. And then I really want to read them quick now because I didn't realise obviously Alphabet Squadron 2 was coming so soon after you just told us, so I want to get that pre-ordered and read him next as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks very much for joining us, Ian. It's been great to have you back on the podcast, get the podcast back together.
No problem.
We'll have to come back on next week. Hopefully we'll get Geordie Jedi Allen back on as well.
Yeah.
Just before we go, have you got any podcasts that you listen to that you want to recommend, or any Any YouTube shows that you watch to do with Star Wars that people might want to check out?
To be honest, I've been a bit slacking with podcasters recently. I really like the Galactic podcast. That's a good one. The two girls over there do a great job with that.
They do, yeah. They're also very they're great on social media where they do like ask the gals hashtag where they answer your questions on the show as well. So definitely go and check those guys out.
And for YouTube, it's just the normal one. Star Wars Explained.
Yep, Star Wars Explained, awesome. And I know that the guys on Black Series Rebels are back doing more stuff as well. If you like Black Series Rebels, they do a really good show. Check those out. For me, obviously check out Sky Talkers. That's my favourite Star Wars podcast in the whole world. Sky Talkers podcast. Charlotte and Caitlin do a great job over there. And I've there's another UK-based Star Wars one called Star Wars Sessions that I listened to quite a bit when I first started, and I sort of died out a bit, didn't have time. But I've really been enjoying their shows lately. So check out Star Wars Sessions as well. I think that's it. Oh, and also obviously our Clone Wars guest host, Christina Morse, has been doing some awesome guests on her Closing Credits podcast. She's recently had Hal Hickle from ILM on. And that's just one big name. She's had loads of people from Skywalker Sound. She's had Star Wars writers on. So go check out the Closing Credits podcast if you want to deep dive into sort of the creative process behind not only the visual effects but the writing of some Star Wars projects as well. Definitely worth a listen. And that podcast as well gets straight to the point. So you just dive straight into the information she's asking. Really, really good stuff there that Christina's doing with the Closing Credits podcast.
Yeah.
But that brings us to the end of the show. Thanks very much for joining me, Ian. Thanks very much for listening, everybody. May the Force be with you.
Please follow us on Twitter at BoresStar. That's at BoresStar. And on Instagram and Facebook at Star Wars Podcast. You can also reach us on email at starwarspodcast@gmail.com. The Star Wars Show can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, and wherever podcasts can be found. Please give us a like, subscribe, and don't forget to leave a 5-star review. May the Force be with you.